I went to dinner with my wife and her business partner at a restaurant, thinking it was just a routine meeting. Midway through the meal, they leaned in and whispered in German, confident, I wouldn't understand. Then my wife said it. He'll raise our daughter for 13 more years. Our daughter. His biological child, not mine. In that moment, I realized I wasn't a husband or a father to them, just a useful man, a convenient wallet raising another man's child. But there was one thing they didn't know. I understood every single word. I calmly poured more wine, raised my glass, and spoke one sentence in German that left them frozen, unable to speak. If you heard your wife say that in another language, what's the first thing you'd do? Drop your answer below, because what I did next shocked everyone in that courtroom. Thursday, 7:30 p.m., Suppenkuche, Hayes Valley, San Francisco. My name is Warren Foster. I'm 53 years old, and for the past 18 years, I've been an IT director at a mid-sized tech firm in Soma. I troubleshoot systems for a living network's server security protocols. I fix things that are broken. I find patterns in data that other people miss. It's methodical work. Logical. Predictable. You put in the right input, you get the right output. There's comfort in that kind of certainty. I'd been married to Jennifer Sullivan for 20 years. 20 years of shared mortgages, joint bank accounts, vacation photos pinned to the fridge, and Sunday mornings reading the paper over coffee. We had a routine. We had stability. And we had Luna, our beautiful 5-year-old daughter with Jennifer's dark hair and my grandmother's brown eyes, who called me daddy and made every single day worth living. That Thursday night, I thought I was just going to dinner with my wife and her boss. I had no idea I was about to uncover the biggest system failure of my life. Jennifer had been working under Dieter Hoffman for almost 6 years. He was the CEO of a pharmaceutical company with offices in San Francisco and Munich, wealthy, connected, and according to Jennifer, brilliant but demanding. She traveled for work, occasionally attending conferences and client meetings. I'd never questioned it. Why would I? She'd mentioned these quarterly dinners before casual meet and greets, where Dieter checked in with his senior staff outside the office. When she invited me this time, I'd been surprised. He wants to meet you properly, she'd said that morning, adjusting her makeup in the bathroom mirror. Her reflection looked flawless. Emerald green dress, pearls, red lipstick applied with precision. You know the husband behind the scenes. I'd smiled, tying my tie in the mirror beside her. It felt nice to be acknowledged, to be included in her professional world, even if just for an evening. Should I wear the navy suit or the gray? I'd asked. She'd glanced at me briefly, already distracted. The gray is fine. Fine. Not great. Just fine. Luna had been playing with her stuffed rabbit in the living room when we were ready to leave. She looked up as I knelt beside her, her small face serious. Daddy, where are you going? Just dinner with Mommy, sweetheart. We'll be back before bedtime. She clung to my leg, her small fingers wrapped around my knee. Will you read me a story when you get home? Of course, baby, I'd said, kissing her forehead. Her hair smelled like lavender shampoo. You be good for Mrs. Patterson, okay. She'd nodded solemnly, her brown eyes wide and trusting, and I'd felt that familiar ache in my chest, the kind only a parent understands. The kind that makes you want to shield them from everything ugly in the world. Mrs. Patterson, our neighbor, had waved from the couch as we left. Have a nice evening, you two. Jennifer had already been halfway out the door. We pulled up to Suppenkuche just after 7:30. The restaurant was tucked into a bustling corner of Hayes Valley, warm light spilling onto the sidewalk. Inside, the air smelled of roasted pork, sauerkraut, and fresh-baked pretzels. German folk music played softly in the background. The place was packed. Couples, groups of friends, families celebrating birthdays. Jennifer's hand rested on my arm as we walked in, but her grip was tight, performative, like she was reminding me to behave, to smile, to play the part. A hostess led us toward the back. Dieter Hoffman was already seated at a corner table. He looked exactly like the kind of man who'd choose that table visible enough to be noticed, private enough to control the conversation. Mid-40s, maybe 47, with dark hair swept back and just enough silver at the temples to suggest wisdom instead of age. His suit was tailored charcoal with subtle pinstripes, the kind you didn't find off the rack. A Rolex gleamed on his left wrist. When he stood to greet us, his smile was practiced and confident, the smile of a man who'd closed 1,000 deals and won every negotiation. Warren, he said, extending his hand. His accent was faint, but unmistakable German softened by years in California. Finally, we meet properly. His handshake was firm, too firm. The kind that said, I know exactly who I am, and I'm not sure you do. Good to meet you, too, I replied, sliding into the seat across from him. Jennifer sat between us, angling herself slightly toward Dieter, like a compass needle finding north. I took the liberty of ordering a bottle, Dieter said, gesturing to the waiter without waiting for our response. A moment later, a tall green bottle appeared, a Riesling from the Mosel Valley. You'll love it, he didn't ask. He simply decided. Jennifer touched her glass and smiled. You always know the best wines, Dieter. Always? I sipped mine and nodded politely. It was good crisp, slightly sweet, but I wasn't paying attention to the wine. They fell into easy conversation. Marketing budgets, European clients, a new distribution deal in Munich. Jennifer laughed at his jokes, leaned in when he made a point, touched his arm when she wanted emphasis. Her body language was open, animated, more alive than I'd seen her in months. I was furniture, a polite fixture at the table, nodding occasionally, contributing nothing. Dieter spoke with his hands confident and expansive. Jennifer mirrored him, her gestures smaller but no less engaged. They had rhythm, history, inside jokes I wasn't part of. I thought about Luna safe at home with Mrs. Patterson probably curled up with her rabbit watching cartoons. I thought about my grandmother Oma Olivia, who'd raised me in Oakland after my parents died and taught me German over kitchen table lessons. Eines Tages wirst du mir denken, she used to say. One day you'll thank me. I never understood why she insisted I learn, until that night. Then Dieter said something in German. Was hältst du von der Strategie für nächstes Jahr? What do you think about the strategy for next year? Jennifer laughed and replied fluently, Ich denke, wir sollten aggressiver vorgehen. I think we should be more aggressive. They didn't pause, didn't translate, didn't ask if I understood. They just kept talking as though I wasn't even there, and I let them. Because what they didn't know, what Jennifer had forgotten after 20 years, was that every single word they said I understood perfectly. I kept my face neutral, my wine glass steady in my hand, even as my heart hammered so hard I thought they'd hear it across the table. We'd been at dinner for 45 minutes. The first course had come and gone, pretzels and butter sauerkraut roasted potatoes. Dieter had dominated the conversation, talking about quarterly projections and marketing campaigns, while Jennifer nodded along, laughing at his jokes, with a brightness I hadn't seen in her in years. And then somewhere between the second and third glass of wine, they'd switch to German. Casually, comfortably, like slipping into a second skin. I'd nodded along, sipped my Riesling, smiled politely whenever Jennifer glanced my way. Just the clueless husband. Just background noise. Dieter leaned forward, his voice dropping slightly more intimate. Wie sieht unser Plan aus? How does our plan look? Jennifer's smile turned sharp, confident. Perfect. Warren ahnt nichts. Perfect. Warren suspects nothing. My fingers tightened around the stem of my glass. I kept my face blank, my posture relaxed. Inside, my pulse spiked. Dieter chuckled softly, swirling his wine. Und Luna. And Luna Jennifer tilted her head, her voice light, almost affectionate. Liebt sie wie sein eigenes Kind. Wird unsere Tochter weitere 13 Jahre großziehen. He loves her like his own. He'll raise our daughter for another 13 years. The words hit me like a freight train. Our daughter, not mine. Theirs. I thought about this morning. Luna tugging on my sleeve, her small voice still thick with sleep. Daddy, can we have pancakes? The way she'd wrapped her arms around my neck when I'd lifted her onto the counter, trusting, innocent, calling me the only name she'd ever known for a father. I thought about last Saturday at the park, Luna running toward me across the grass, her laugh bright and clear. Bah, watch me! She'd called, and I'd caught her mid-jump, spinning her around until she shrieked with joy. I thought about her first word, Dada, and she wasn't mine. Dieter took another sip of wine, his tone casual, satisfied. 1,200,000, nicht schlecht. 1,200,000, not bad. $1.2 million. My pulse roared in my ears. My IT brain kicked into overdrive, catalog, analyze, compartmentalize. Luna isn't mine. Jennifer had an affair with Dieter. They've been planning this for years. They've stolen over $1 million from our joint accounts. 13 more years she expects me to keep raising his daughter while they bleed me dry. The pieces clicked into place with horrifying clarity. The expensive necklace she'd claimed was a work bonus. The weekend trips to Munich. The late-night conference calls behind closed doors. The way she'd started avoiding intimacy, making excuses, creating distance. It wasn't burnout. It wasn't stress. It was him. I reached for the wine bottle and refilled my glass, slowly, deliberately. My hands didn't shake. I wouldn't let them. Then I stood, raised my glass, and looked directly at Dieter. In flawless German, I said, Prost. Auf neue Anfänge und das Ende von Illusionen. Cheers. To new beginnings and the end of illusions. Jennifer's face went white. Her wine glass slipped slightly in her hand. Dieter froze his glass halfway to his lips. For the first time that night, the confident smile vanished. The silence that followed was deafening. I set my glass down gently, pulled 2 20s from my wallet, and dropped them on the table. Then I turned and walked toward the door. Warren, Jennifer's voice cracked behind me, sharp with panic. Warren, wait! I didn't stop. Warren, please! Her chair scraped violently against the floor. I heard her heels clicking frantically on the hardwood, but I was already pushing through the door into the cold San Francisco night. The fog had rolled in thick and damp, swallowing the streetlights. The street was nearly empty. My breath came in short, controlled bursts. My hands were shaking now, not from fear, but from rage, held barely in check. Behind me, the restaurant door slammed open. Warren, let me explain. Jennifer's voice broke into something desperate, pleading. It's not what you think. I kept walking. Warren, stop. She was running now, her heels clicking unevenly on the pavement. Please, just listen. I didn't turn around. I reached my car, unlocked it, and climbed in. Through the windshield, I saw her standing in the middle of the street, mascara, already smudging her perfect facade, cracking. She mouthed something I couldn't hear. I started the engine. I had 20 years of marriage to dissect. A daughter who might not be mine. Over $1 million to trace. And whatever else they were hiding, whatever other lies were buried in those encrypted emails, those late-night work trips, those perfectly rehearsed smiles, I would find it. All of it. Because if there's one thing I know how to do, it's find the patterns other people think they've hidden. And I was just getting started. The Fairmont San Francisco room, 812. I checked in under the name Robert Mitchell, paid cash, told the front desk I'd had a long day and just needed a quiet place to work. The clerk didn't ask questions. I wasn't going home. Not yet. Not until I knew exactly what I was dealing with. Room 812 overlooked the city lights scattered across the hills like fallen stars. I didn't look at the view. I set my laptop on the desk connected to the hotel's network, through my personal VPN, and opened our joint bank accounts. Jennifer and I had shared finances for 20 years. Mortgage, savings, credit cards. She'd always handled the day-to-day expenses while I focused on the bigger picture retirement accounts, college funds, investment portfolios. I trusted her completely. That trust, I realized as the first page loaded, had cost me everything. It took me less than 30 minutes to find the pattern. $15,000 to $20,000 every single month. For the past 6 years, 72 months. I pulled up a spreadsheet and started building the timeline. My hands moved on autopilot: date, amount, description, destination. Each line a new knife to the chest. Each row a betrayal I'd been too blind to see. DH Consulting, LLC. The name appeared over and over again. Consulting fees. Advisory services. Strategic planning support. Corporate language designed to look legitimate. Professional. Boring. Over $1.2 million funneled directly from our joint account into his pocket. Our money. My salary. The raises I'd worked for, the bonuses I'd earned, the overtime I'd logged, while she was working late, gone. Transferred quietly, methodically, month after month, while I paid the mortgage and believed we were building a future together. I stared at the screen. 72 transfers. 72 months of theft. 6 years of my life reduced to rows in a spreadsheet. Then I pulled the credit card statements. The Fairmont San Francisco. $550. Every Thursday evening. 18 months straight. I looked around the room, the king bed with its crisp white sheets, the minibar, the leather armchair by the window. This room, or one just like it. Every single week. While I was home with Luna reading bedtime stories and making dinosaur-shaped pancakes, my wife was here. With him. Tiffany & Co., 12500 SARS. February 14th, 2 years ago. I remembered that necklace. Jennifer had worn it to our anniversary dinner, the diamonds catching the candlelight as she leaned across the table and kissed me. My boss gave me a bonus, she'd said, smiling. For closing the Munich deal? She'd let me admire it, let me compliment her success, let me believe she'd earned it. Dieter had bought it for her, with my money. I kept scrolling, my chest tightening with every charge. Expensive restaurants I'd never been to. Gary Danko, Quince, Saison, Michelin-starred places in Nob Hill, the Marina Pacific Heights. Charges for two, always on Thursday nights or weekend afternoons, when Jennifer said she was meeting clients or attending networking events. I'd never questioned it. She was good at her job, ambitious, driven. Of course she had business dinners. United Airlines, SFO, Munich, business class, $8, $400, 6 times in the past 2 years. Solo business trips, she'd called them. I'd offered to come along, once turn it into a family vacation. Luna had never been to Europe. Jennifer had laughed and kissed my cheek. You'd be bored, honey. It's just meetings in conference rooms. We'll go together someday, I promise. She'd promised. Every gift, every vacation, every I love you, whispered in the dark, funded with my money, while she built a life with him. While I stayed home believing in us. I leaned back in the chair, staring at the spreadsheet. 72 rows of betrayal, organized by date and category. My IT brain had done its job, compartmentalized, analyzed, documented every theft, every lie, every moment I'd been played for a fool. But underneath that cold logic, something was breaking. I was about to close the banking app when I saw it. An email folder buried deep in Jennifer's synchronized cloud storage, labeled Project Timeline. The name looked harmless, corporate, boring, but something made my skin crawl. I clicked it open, and that's when I realized my wife wasn't just stealing from me. The Fairmont San Francisco room, 812. I clicked open the folder labeled Project Timeline, the screen filled with encrypted message threads. My hands went cold. Private message thread date. 6 months ago, Jennifer, Michael Torres, MT Solutions. Michael, I need this done perfectly. My husband drives a 2022 Tesla Model S license plate, 7TOH392. Friday evening, Highway 101. Brake failure needs to look like an accident. I've wired the $50,000 deposit as discussed. J. Michael Torres. Jennifer confirmed. We'll surveil for 2 months to establish patterns. You'll hear from me when ready. MT. I stared at the screen. My wife had hired someone to end my life, not in anger, not in passion, methodically, professionally, with a $50,000 deposit pulled from the money she'd been stealing from me for 6 years. I kept scrolling through the encrypted communications. Private message thread date. 3 months ago, Jennifer, Dieter D. I'm having second thoughts about MT. What if something goes wrong, J. Dieter? Jennifer Warren's life insurance gives us $2.5 million. Stop doubting. We've come too far to turn back now. Everything will be fine. Trust the plan. D, $2.5 million. I opened another window and searched our files. It took me 3 minutes to find it. Metropolitan Life Insurance Policy, ML 5847392, insured. Warren Joseph Foster, benefit amount $2,500. Severo beneficiary, Jennifer Marie Sullivan, 100% policy date 18 months ago, monthly premium, $450. I scrolled through our bank statements. There it was, Metropolitan Life, $450. Auto-deducted from our joint checking account every month for the past year and a half. I'd been paying for my own end. The policy had been active for 18 months. Life insurance contestability. Periods typically last 2 years. They'd been waiting, strategically, patiently. 6 more months, and the insurance company couldn't question the claim no matter what. I felt sick. Private message thread date. 1 week ago, Michael Torres. Jennifer package delivery scheduled for this Friday evening. We'll access vehicle 6-7 p.m. at his office parking lot. Brake system will fail after 15-20 minutes of driving. Stay calm. Everything is in place. Final payment due upon completion. MT. I checked my calendar. Today was Thursday. This Friday meant tomorrow. 18 hours from now, someone named Michael Torres MT Solutions was going to sabotage my car. 15 to 20 minutes after I started driving, my brakes would fail on Highway 101. A terrible accident. A tragedy. a widowed wife, and a fatherless daughter, and a $2.5 million payout. My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. I thought about this morning. Jennifer kissing me goodbye at the door, Luna clinging to my leg, Jennifer smiling and saying, "Drive safe, honey." Drive safe. She'd said that knowing that tomorrow I wouldn't be safe. Tomorrow I'd be gone, and she'd collect $2. $5 million, keep Luna his daughter, and disappear with Dieter to start their perfect life. All paid for with my salary, my bonuses, my life insurance, and my death. I leaned back in the chair, staring at the ceiling, my mind reeling. I thought about the day Luna was born, 5 years ago. Jennifer in the hospital bed, exhausted and glowing, holding this tiny, perfect baby girl. I'd cried. I'd promised that little girl, my little girl, that I'd protect her forever. Her first steps. Her first word, Dada. Not even mine. Not biologically, but I'd loved her anyway. I still did. And Jennifer had watched me love that child, Dieter's child, while planning to take everything from me. My money, my life, my future. She was going to make Luna an orphan. Or worse, let her grow up believing her father had simply died in a terrible accident, never knowing the truth. I looked at the clock. 2:47 a.m. 19 hours until Torres accessed my car. 19 hours to stop this. I pulled up my contacts and stared at the name I hadn't called in over a year. James Holloway. We'd met at a tech conference in Palo Alto 3 years ago. He'd been a keynote speaker, former FBI Financial Crimes Division, now a private investigator specializing in corporate fraud and forensic accounting. We'd kept in touch, occasional phone calls, a beer now and then when he was in the city. He was the only person I knew who'd understand what I was looking at, the only person who'd know what to do. I stared at my phone for a long time. If I called him, there was no going back. This became real. Official. Evidence. Investigation. FBI. Jennifer would go to prison. Dieter would go to prison. Luna would lose her mother. But if I didn't call him, I'd be dead by tomorrow night. At 6:03 a.m., the sky outside the hotel window was just starting to turn gray. The city was still asleep. I picked up my phone and dialed. It rang 4 times before a groggy voice answered. "Holloway." "James," I said. My voice sounded strange, calm, detached, like I was reporting a server outage at work. "It's Warren Foster." There was a long silence on the other end. Then James said in a voice that was suddenly all business, "Where are you?" "The Fairmont, room 812. "Don't move. Don't call anyone else." "I'm on my way." He hung up. I set the phone down and looked out at the city San Francisco, waking up unaware that somewhere out there a man named Michael Torres was preparing to sabotage my car. But now I wasn't alone, and I had 19 hours to make sure I lived to see Saturday. Friday, 7:30 a.m., FBI field office. Agent Sarah Martinez, late 30s. Sharp eyes shook my hand firmly. James stood by the window. "Mr. Foster, I've reviewed your evidence." She gestured to monitors displaying my files. Conspiracy to commit harm wire fraud across state lines, insurance fraud, federal crimes. We can act immediately. Can you stop Torres? He's sabotaging my car tonight, 6 to 7 p.m. Soma, parking lot. We're tracing him now. If he's in the Bay Area, we'll have him within 2 hours. And Jennifer Dieter, preparing arrest warrants. Once we have Torres, we move on them simultaneously. I hesitated. My daughter, Luna, she's 5. She can't know her mother tried to... Sarah's voice softened. We'll coordinate with Child Protective Services. This will be handled sensitively. An agent entered, whispered to Sarah. Your Tesla? She asked. 4th and Bryant. Soma employee lot. Sarah spoke into her radio. Dispatch 2 agents to 4th and Bryant. Secure Tesla Model S plate. 17YH392. Federal evidence. No one touches it. She turned back. If Torres attempts access, we'll have eyes on him. What do I do? Stay somewhere safe. Not home. Jennifer doesn't know you're aware yet. Keep it that way until we have all 3. She's been calling, 23 missed calls. Don't answer. Let her think you're upset about the dinner. That's all she knows. Sarah checked her watch. Torres's last message was Wednesday. Green light for Friday. That's tonight. We have 10 hours before his window. 10 hours until I was supposed to die. An agent appeared at the door holding a tablet. Digital Forensics has a location. Sarah stood. Where? Oakland, Lake Merritt area. Van matching description registered to MT Solutions. Sarah grabbed her jacket, already moving. Her team mobilized vests, weapons, radios. She paused at the door, looked back. Mr. Foster, we're going to save your life and put these people in prison. But first, we need Torres. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen. Found him. Oakland. We move now. Agent Martinez set up the laptop. Live feed from the team. Torres is the target. I watched the screen. Body camera footage, shaky multiple angles. At 8:15 a.m., the SWAT team breached the door on East 23rd Street, Oakland. FBI hands up, Michael Torres was making coffee. 42 ex-military dishonorable discharge. He set down his mug, raised his hands, knelt calmly. Michael Torres, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit harm, wire fraud, and attempted sabotage. No resistance. Professional to the end. The camera switched to evidence collection. Tesla Model S blueprint, VIN, circled in red 5YJ3E1E, NFs 12847. Hydraulic brake tools, cutters, clamps, fluid drainers, duffel bag. 80,000 in cash. 50 from Jennifer, 30 from Dieter, Sarah said quietly. Burner phone, unlocked. Message visible. Confirm 6:07 p.m. Friday window. Make it clean. Surveillance photos. Dozens. My face stared back from the screen. Getting into my car. Walking Luna to preschool. Grocery shopping. Filed under target schedule. I felt sick. I'd been watched. Hunted. 2 months of surveillance, Sarah said. Friday 9. Zatro A.M. Interrogation live feed. Torres sat with his public defender and an FBI agent. Michael, you're looking at 25 to 30 years, the agent said. Or cooperate full testimony against Jennifer Sullivan and Dieter Hoffman, and we recommend 12 to 15. Torres didn't hesitate. I'll take it. Start talking. I leaned forward. Torres spoke like he was discussing a business deal. February 14th. Jennifer Sullivan contacted me through a dark web forum. She needed someone to handle a problem her husband. 50,000 upfront, 50 on completion. Wire transfer within 12 hours. My chest tightened. She sent everything. Full name, addresses, vehicle, 2022, Tesla plate, 7TOH392. Schedule photos. She said he was trusting and naive. Her exact words, an easy target. Trusting and naive. Jennifer describing me to a criminal. What about Dieter Hoffman? 2 months later, another wire, 30,000. Jennifer said insurance. He wants to make sure you follow through. Boyfriend didn't trust her alone. The surveillance, standard. I watched Foster for 2 months. Gym 5:30 a.m. Work by 8. Home by 6. Picks up his daughter Tuesdays and Thursdays. Grocery, Sundays. My life cataloged like data. The plan was simple. Friday evening, 6 to 7 p.m. office parking lot, 4th and Bryant. Security's weak. Sabotage the hydraulic brakes. 15 to 20 minutes total failure. Highway 101 at speed mechanical failure. Tragic accident. Jennifer's instructions. Make it clean. No questions. She mentioned the insurance $2.5 million from MetLife. Said she'd waited 18 months for the contestability period. Both of them wanted Warren gone. Last contact. Wednesday, 11:42 p.m. Green light for Friday. Final confirmation. Why cooperate? Torres met the agent's gaze. I'm a professional. You have my evidence. Sullivan and Hoffman will betray me. 12 to 15 is manageable. 25 to 30 is my life. I'll testify. I document everything. The feed cut off. Sarah turned to me. We have everything. Torres will testify. I stared at the blank screen. Trusting and naive. Easy target. Green light for Friday. Mr. Foster, Sarah said quietly. Are you ready to watch your wife get handcuffed? I thought about Luna waiting at preschool today. 20 years of lies. 4 words. Green light for Friday that nearly ended my life. I'm ready, I said. Pacific Heights. Warren's home. The FBI convoy pulled up 3 black SUVs. I sat in the back of Sarah's vehicle, watching my front door. 2 agents walked up the steps. 1 knocked firm official. Jennifer opened the door in her nightgown mascara smudged from a sleepless night. She'd been calling me since last night. 73 missed calls. She saw the badges first. Then her eyes found me in the vehicle behind them. Her face went white. Jennifer Sullivan, Agent Martinez said, stepping forward. FBI, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit harm wire fraud and insurance fraud under federal statute. What? Jennifer's voice cracked. No, this is a mistake, Sarah continued. You have the right to remain silent. Warren, tell them this is insane. The agents moved to cuff her. She pulled back, panic rising. It was Dieter, she screamed, looking directly at me. He made me do it. Warren, you have to believe me. I stepped out of the vehicle, walked to the base of the steps. I read every message, Jennifer, I said. My voice was steady cold. I know about Michael Torres. The brake sabotage plan for tonight. The $2.5 million insurance policy you took out 18 months ago. Her face crumpled. Tears started. Warren, please, she sobbed. Think about Luna. Think about our family. I'm thinking about Luna, I said. That's why you'll never see her again. The agents secured the handcuffs. Neighbors had come out phones, raised recording. Jennifer's desperation turned to venom. She's not even yours, she screamed. Luna's not your daughter. You have no rights. I felt the words hit, but they didn't wound. I've been her father for 5 years, I said quietly. I'm the one who reads her bedtime stories, who taught her to ride a bike, who she calls Daddy. I stepped closer. You're just the woman who lied. They put her in the vehicle. She was still screaming desperate, broken pleas about love and Luna needing her mother. The convoy disappeared around the corner. I stood in front of my house, the house we'd bought together, where Luna had taken her first steps. 20 years built on lies. My phone buzzed. Luna's preschool. Mr. Foster confirming pickup today at 3 p.m. Will you or Mrs. Foster be coming? I looked at the empty driveway, the space where Jennifer's car should have been, where she'd planned to return tonight after I was dead, ready to collect her payout. I typed, I'll be there. Then, because it needed to be said, because it was a promise, I added, from now on, it'll always be me. Hoffman Pharmaceuticals, Financial District. The FBI walked into the boardroom mid-presentation. Dieter Hoffman stood at the head of the table, 12 board members, seated mid-sentence about Q3 projections. Dieter Hoffman, Agent Martinez said, badge raised. FBI, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit harm wire fraud and insurance fraud. The room went silent. Dieter's face flushed. This is absurd. I'm the CEO of a $500 million company. You can't. Turn around, hands behind your back. Dieter looked at the board colleagues, investors. No one moved. Call Klaus Bergman, my attorney. Mr. Bergman has been notified. Let's go. They walked him out past glass offices, past employees, who stopped mid-conversation past the Chrome Company logo. 15 minutes later, news vans arrived. Pharma CEO arrested in conspiracy case. Friday, 3 p.m., Little Explorers Preschool, Pacific Heights. I parked outside and waited. At 3 o'clock, the doors opened. Luna came running out, backpack bouncing, ponytail flying. Daddy! She threw her arms around my legs. I knelt down, hugging her tight. Hey, sweetheart. How was your day? Good look. She pulled a crumpled paper from her backpack, a crayon drawing, 3 stick figures holding hands under a bright yellow sun. Daddy, Mommy, Luna. My throat tightened. It's beautiful, baby. Luna looked around. Where's Mommy? Why didn't she come? I knelt lower, meeting her eyes. Mommy's away for a while, sweetheart. She had to go somewhere. But you'll always have Daddy, okay? Her face scrunched up. Is she coming back? I don't know, Luna. Her lip quivered. I pulled her into a hug before she could cry. Can we get ice cream, Daddy? She whispered. I held her tighter. Yeah, baby. We can get ice cream. Friday, 8:30 p.m., Warren's house. That night I tucked Luna into bed. She clutched her stuffed rabbit eyes, drowsy. Daddy. Yes, sweetheart. Will Mommy be home tomorrow? I brushed hair from her forehead. No, sweetheart. Not tomorrow. When? I kissed her forehead. I don't know, Luna. But you'll always have me. I promise. She nodded sleepily, her small hand reaching for mine. I held it gently. Within minutes, her breathing slowed. I sat in the darkness, her hand still in mine, listening to the nightlight's quiet hum. The DNA results would arrive soon. They'd confirm what I already knew, the child I loved wasn't biologically mine. And I'd have to decide whether that mattered. Whether 5 years of bedtime stories and scraped knees and crayon drawings were worth less than blood. Whether love was enough. Sitting there in the dark, holding Luna's hand as she slept, I thought maybe, just maybe I already knew the answer. 1 week later. Temporary apartment, Soma. The envelope arrived by certified mail. I stared at it for a long time before opening. LabCorp DNA paternity test results alleged. Father Warren Joseph Foster child Luna. Marie Foster. Probability of paternity. 0.0% I'd known. Of course I'd known. But seeing it in black and white, official, irrefutable, felt like a punch to the chest. I closed my eyes. Da-da. Luna's first word 9 months old, reaching for me from her crib, teaching her to swim at the community pool, her small arms around my neck, trusting me completely. You won't let me go, right, Daddy? Bedtime stories. Every single night for 5 years. One more, Daddy, please. 2 weeks ago at the preschool playground, she'd run to me out of breath, grinning. Daddy, you're my best friend. I heard my grandmother's voice, decades old, but clear as day. Liebe ist eine Entscheidung. Warren. I set the paper down. She's mine, I said aloud to the empty apartment. Biology doesn't matter. 2 days later, law offices of Hughes and Associates. David Hughes was 48, silver-haired, with the calm demeanor of someone who'd seen every family law, nightmare imaginable. He reviewed the DNA results, the arrest records, the custody situation. You have a strong position as the presumed father, he said. You've raised Luna for 5 years. You're her father in every meaningful sense. But family court, nothing is guaranteed. Dieter is her biological father, I said. Can he fight for custody from prison? David shook his head. He's facing 25 to 30 years for conspiracy to end your life. No judge will grant custody to a convicted felon serving a federal sentence for trying to eliminate the child's presumed father. And Jennifer, that's more complicated. She's also facing serious time, likely 25 to 30 years. But she's the biological mother. Some judges prioritize maternal rights, even in extreme cases. So what do? We filed for termination of parental rights, both Jennifer and Dieter. Then step-parent adoption. It's not a guarantee, but given the circumstances, conspiracy attempted harm, abandonment due to incarceration, we have strong grounds. I leaned forward. What are the chances I lose? David met my gaze. Jennifer will fight. She'll argue she was coerced, manipulated, that she deserves a second chance. Some judges are sympathetic to mothers. Are you prepared for the possibility that you could lose Luna? I won't lose. Mr. Foster. I won't lose, I repeated. Luna is my daughter. I've been her father since the day she was born. All right, let's fight. He pushed 3 documents across the desk. Petition for full custody. Petition for termination of parental rights. Petition for step-parent adoption. This is a war, David said quietly. I pulled out my wallet. Inside was Luna's drawing from last week, the one with 3 stick figures. But she'd erased the middle figure labeled Mommy. Now it was just 2. Daddy and Luna holding hands. I won't lose, I said, and I signed every page. I'd never realized how many questions a 5-year-old could ask until Jennifer was gone. Where's Mommy? Luna asked on Monday morning, standing in the kitchen doorway with her stuffed rabbit. I crouched to her level. Mommy had to go away for a while, sweetheart. Why, she made some very bad choices. Choices that hurt people. When grown-ups do that, they have to go away for a long time. Luna's face scrunched. Did Mommy do something bad? My throat tightened. Yes, baby, she did. Is she coming back? Not for many, many years. Luna's lip trembled. Are you going to leave too, Daddy? I pulled her into my arms, feeling her small body shake. No, never. I'm staying right here with you, forever. I promise. Promise, Beck. Promise. By Wednesday, we'd established a new routine. Breakfast at 7. Preschool drop-off at 8. I worked remotely, laptop open on the kitchen table phone, always within reach. Pick up at 3. Dinner together. Bedtime stories. Repeat. Thursday afternoon, I took Luna to the park near our apartment. She'd been asking to learn how to ride a bike, the one Jennifer had bought her for her 5th birthday, but never taught her to use. I steadied the bike while Luna climbed on her helmet slightly too big. Hold on, Daddy. I've got you. I ran beside her, hand on the seat. She wobbled, laughed, wobbled again. Don't let go. I won't. She pedaled faster. My hand slipped from the seat. Luna turned, realized I wasn't holding on, panicked, and fell. I caught her before she hit the ground. You okay? Luna nodded, tears in her eyes. Falling is part of learning, I said gently. But I'll always catch you. Always. Understand. Always. Always. She tried again. This time she made it 10 feet before wobbling. I jogged beside her, ready. By the 6th try, she made it all the way across the path. I did it, Daddy. I did it. My chest swelled. You did, baby. You did. For the first time in weeks, Luna's smile was real. That night, I tucked Luna into bed in our new apartment. She clutched her rabbit eyes heavy. I love you, Daddy. I love you too, Luna. More than anything. She fell asleep within minutes. I sat on the edge of her bed, watching her chest rise and fall. My phone buzzed. David Hughes. Trial date set. 4 months. Jennifer and Dieter both pleading not guilty. Media coverage will be significant. Luna might hear things. I closed my eyes. 4 months. Jennifer would fight. Dieter would fight. The press would swarm. Luna's face would be on every screen. I thought of the DNA results. The line that read, probability of paternity, 0.0%. I looked at Luna peaceful in sleep. Biology didn't matter. She was my daughter, and I would end this for her. I typed back, let them come. I'm ready. I kissed Luna's forehead and whispered, I'll keep you safe, no matter what. Then I walked to the living room, opened my laptop, and began preparing for war. I hadn't worn a suit in 6 years. The last time was Oma Olivia's funeral. This one charcoal gray, perfectly tailored, was the one she'd bought me 2 Christmases before she died. For important days, she'd said in German, for wichtige Tage. Today was important. I stepped into the Superior Court building at 8:47 a.m. Luna, safely with Mrs. Patterson. Outside news vans lined Bryant Street. Inside Courtroom 26, every seat was filled. I took my seat behind the prosecution table. Across the aisle, Jennifer sat in a modest navy dress. Dieter sat 10 feet away with his lawyer, Klaus Bergman. They hadn't looked at each other once. The bailiff stood. All rise. The Honorable Judge Thornton Roberts presiding. Prosecutor Rebecca Sanchez rose first. Greed, betrayal, calculated conspiracy to end a man's life. Over the next week, you will see emails, financial records, and hear testimony from a professional criminal hired for $80,000 to sabotage Warren Foster's car. The evidence will prove beyond reasonable doubt that Jennifer Sullivan and Dieter Hoffman conspired to end Warren Foster's life for money, for freedom, and for each other. They are guilty. Jennifer's attorney, Catherine Rains, stood next. My client was manipulated by Dieter Hoffman, a powerful CEO worth $500 million. She is a victim here, not a villain. Dieter's attorney rose with a faint accent. The conspiracy was Jennifer Sullivan's idea. My client was a reluctant participant. Rebecca Sanchez smiled slightly. They were blaming each other. That would help us. Rebecca built her case methodically over 3 days. Emails were projected. I need this handled cleanly, no mistakes. The jury leaned forward. A forensic accountant showed $1. $2 million siphoned through DH Consulting LLC, with payments to Michael Torres, $50,000 from Jennifer, $30,000 from Dieter. Then came the insurance policy, $2,500,000, issued 18 months before the planned attack. Strategic timing, Rebecca noted, 6 months before the contestability period expired. The courtroom fell silent when Michael Torres was led in. Rebecca questioned him directly. Who hired you, Jennifer Sullivan? Who paid you, Jennifer Sullivan and Dieter Hoffman? What were your instructions? Sabotage the brakes of Warren Foster's Tesla. Friday 6 to 7 p.m., Highway 101. Make it look like mechanical failure. What was the final confirmation? Wednesday night, text from Jennifer Greenlight for Friday. The jury's faces hardened. FBI agent Sarah Martinez followed with photos, hydraulic brake tools, Tesla blueprints, with VIN 5YJ3E1EA4NF 12847, circled in red surveillance images of me labeled target schedule. This was calculated. Planned. Professional Martinez testified. I stared at images of my own face, my daily routine. I felt sick. After 3 days, Rebecca rested her case. Catherine Rains stood. Your Honor, the defense calls Jennifer Sullivan to the stand. The courtroom stirred. Jennifer rose slowly, Kleenex clutched in one hand. She glanced at me once, an unreadable look between regret and defiance. She placed her hand on the Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. My hands clenched. The irony was lost on no one. Jennifer stood on the witness stand, Kleenex pressed to her eyes, shoulders shaking. She looked fragile, broken, exactly what her attorney wanted the jury to see. Catherine Rains approached gently. "Jennifer, did you love your husband?" "Yes." Jennifer's voice cracked. "But I also loved Dieter. I was torn." "Did you want Warren to die?" "No." Jennifer sobbed. "Dieter threatened me. He said he'd take Luna, ruin me financially. I was terrified." I watched from my seat, hands clenched. She was lying. Every word, Catherine continued. "Were you coerced?" "Yes." "Dieter controlled everything. I didn't know what to do." The jury looked sympathetic. Some nodded. Then Rebecca Sanchez stood for cross-examination. Her voice was sharp, controlled. "Ms. Sullivan, you contacted Michael Torres first, correct?" Jennifer hesitated. "Dieter told me to." "You wrote the details about the brake sabotage. He dictated it to me. You transferred $50,000 to a hitman. I didn't know what else to do." Rebecca stepped closer. "You could have called the police, filed for divorce, left. But you didn't." Why, Jennifer's face crumpled. "Because I wanted it all. The money, Dieter. Is that what you want to hear?" The courtroom erupted. Whispers. Gasps. Catherine Rains looked panicked. Rebecca didn't flinch. "No further questions, Your Honor." Jennifer was led off the stand, mascara streaking her face. She didn't look at me. Next came Dieter Hoffman. He sat stiffly, Klaus Bergman beside him. His testimony was cold, calculated. "Jennifer Sullivan orchestrated everything," Dieter said in accented English. "I was a reluctant participant. She manipulated me emotionally. I made poor decisions, yes, but I never intended harm." Rebecca rose. "Mr. Hoffman, you sent $30,000 to Michael Torres. That's not reluctance. That's payment." Dieter's jaw tightened. "It was a terrible mistake." "A mistake?" Rebecca's voice rose. "Or conspiracy to end a man's life?" Dieter said nothing. His silence was damning. Rebecca held up a document. "This email from your private account says, 'Ensure it's clean. No trail.' That's not reluctance, Mr. Hoffman. That's leadership." Dieter looked away. The jury saw it. No further questions. After both defendants testified, each blaming the other, each revealing their guilt, with every word Rebecca called her final witness. "Your Honor," she said, "the prosecution calls Warren Foster to the stand." I stood. My legs felt unsteady. Luna's drawing was folded in my jacket pocket, the one where she'd erased the middle figure labeled Mommy and drawn only Daddy, and Luna holding hands. I walked to the witness stand. The courtroom was silent. Jennifer stared at me, mascara-stained, desperate. Dieter looked away. 20 years had led to this moment, me testifying against the woman I once loved, to ensure she would never harm our daughter again. I placed my hand on the Bible. "Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?" "I do." Unlike Jennifer, I meant it. The courtroom was silent as I stood at the witness stand to deliver my victim impact statement. I wasn't testifying about facts anymore. This was about what they'd done to me, to Luna, to our lives. I looked directly at the jury. My wife of 20 years didn't just betray me. She didn't just lie about who fathered my daughter. She didn't just steal over $1 million from our accounts. My voice steadied. Jennifer had every opportunity to leave, to divorce me, to walk away. She chose harm instead, for money, for convenience. I turned slightly, including Dieter in my gaze. Dieter funded it, encouraged it, equal guilt. Luna is 5 years old. She asks when Mommy's coming home. How do I explain that her mother planned to harm me? I looked back at the jury. Some had tears in their eyes. I asked this court for the maximum sentence. Let them spend decades thinking about the life they tried to take. I stepped down. The courtroom was silent. Closing arguments were brief. Rebecca Sanchez was powerful, methodical, devastating. The evidence is overwhelming. The conspiracy is proven. Justice demands conviction. Catherine Rains and Klaus Bergman offered weak defenses, blame-shifting claims of coercion. The jury looked unconvinced. Judge Thornton dismissed the jury to deliberate at 3:47 p.m. 7 hours. I sat in the hallway outside courtroom 26, Luna's drawing folded in my jacket pocket. Rebecca sat beside me reviewing notes. James Holloway brought coffee I didn't drink. 6 Sauersert p.m. Nothing. 8:00 p.m. Still deliberating. 9:30 p.m. I checked my phone. Mrs. Patterson had texted Luna's asleep. Praying for you. I stared at Luna's drawing. 2 stick figures holding hands under a yellow sun. Daddy. Luna. The space where Mommy used to be was erased. At 10:52 p.m., a bailiff opened the door. The jury is ready. I walked back into the courtroom. My heart pounded. Jennifer sat at the defense table, pale hands clasped. Dieter stared straight ahead, expressionless. The jury filed in. None of them looked at the defendants. Rebecca leaned over. That's a good sign, she whispered. Judge Thornton took her seat. Has the jury reached a verdict? The 4 persons stood, a woman in her 60s. Gray hair, steady demeanor. Yes, Your Honor, we have. The courtroom was so quiet I could hear my own heartbeat. Every second stretched into eternity. A bailiff handed the verdict form to the judge. Judge Thornton read it silently, her face unreadable, then handed it back to the 4-person. Please read the verdict. The 4-person held the paper, her hands trembling slightly. In the matter of the people of the state of California versus Jennifer Sullivan on the charge of conspiracy to cause serious harm in the 1st degree. She paused. That pause felt endless. We find the defendant Jennifer Sullivan guilty. The word hung in the air. Final. Absolute. The 4-person continued. Guilty on count 1 conspiracy to cause serious harm in the 1st degree. Guilty on count 2 wire fraud. Guilty on count 3 insurance fraud. Guilty on count 4 solicitation of a crime. Jennifer collapsed forward, sobbing into her hands. Her shoulders shook violently. Catherine Raines put a hand on her back, but Jennifer didn't stop. The 4-person turned the page. And in the matter of the people of the state of California versus Dieter Hoffman, on all charges, we find the defendant guilty. Dieter didn't move. His jaw tightened. He stared straight ahead, silent, expressionless. Only his hands clenched on the table betrayed him. The courtroom erupted. Gasps, whispers. Someone behind me exhaled loudly. Judge Thornton struck her gavel. Order! Order in the court. I closed my eyes, breathed. It's over. Luna is safe. David Hughes leaned over, his voice low. We won. I nodded, unable to speak. Judge Thornton addressed the court. Sentencing is scheduled for 2 weeks from today. The defendants are remanded into custody without bail. She struck the gavel again. Court is adjourned. Bailiffs moved toward Jennifer and Dieter. Jennifer stood unsteadily, mascara streaking her face. Dieter rose stiffly, his expression still blank. They were let out in handcuffs. The press bolted from the courtroom. I could hear them shouting into phones, rushing to file stories. I sat in silence. Relief, exhaustion, a strange emptiness. Rebecca Sanchez turned to me. You did it, Warren. Justice. I looked at Luna's drawing, still folded in my pocket. For her? I said quietly. 2 weeks later, I returned for sentencing. Jennifer and Dieter were brought in wearing orange jumpsuits, hands cuffed, faces pale. The expensive suits and arrogance were gone. They looked smaller, broken. Judge Thornton entered, a different judge, stern-faced, gray hair pulled back tightly. Her reputation was well-known, harsh on white-collar crime, unforgiving on conspiracy cases. She took her seat and surveyed the courtroom with cold eyes. Jennifer Sullivan and Dieter Hoffman, she began, her voice cutting through the silence. You have been convicted of crimes that shock the conscience of this court. I leaned forward. This was the moment. Justice measured in years. Judge Thornton Roberts leaned forward, her voice cold, and measured each word, deliberate and final. You conspired to end the life of an innocent man for money. This was not a crime of passion. It was cold, calculated, premeditated, a conspiracy spanning months, involving financial theft, insurance fraud, and the hiring of a professional to cause serious harm. She paused, letting the weight of her words settle over the courtroom. I sat in the front row, my hands folded in my lap, my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. This was it, the moment I'd been waiting for since that dinner at Suppenkuche, since the night I'd sat in room 812 and discovered the truth. Judge Thornton Roberts turned to Jennifer, her gaze unwavering. You were his wife. He trusted you. You shared a home, a life, a child. And you hired a professional to cause his death so you could collect $2.5 million in life insurance. You stole over $1.2 million from joint accounts over 6 years. You betrayed every vow you ever made. Jennifer stared at the floor, trembling her hands gripping the edge of the defense table. Catherine Raines, her attorney, stood beside her, silent and pale. Judge Thornton Roberts then turned to Dieter. Mr. Hoffman, your wealth does not place you above the law. You funded this conspiracy. You encouraged it. You paid $30,000 to a hired criminal to sabotage a vehicle and cause the death of an innocent man. You are equally responsible. Dieter said nothing, his jaw tight, his face ashen. The confident CEO who'd once ordered wine in German and smiled across the table at my wife was gone. Jennifer Sullivan, Judge Thornton Roberts continued, her voice ringing through the courtroom. You are hereby sentenced to 30 years in federal prison without the possibility of parole. Jennifer gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. 30 years. She'd be 77 years old when released, an old woman, her life spent behind bars. Dieter Hoffman. Judge Thornton Roberts said, turning to him, You are sentenced to 28 years in federal prison without the possibility of parole. Dieter's face went pale. 75 years old. He'd die in prison. And then Jennifer screamed, No, I have a daughter. Luna needs me. Her voice cracked raw and desperate, echoing off the courtroom walls. She turned toward me, her eyes wild. Warren, please, she's my baby. Don't let them do this. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just looked at her, the woman I'd loved for 20 years, the woman who'd whispered in German that I'd raise our daughter for 13 more years while she and her lover planned my death. Judge Thornton Roberts' expression didn't change. Luna needs a parent who doesn't conspire to harm others. I am recommending the immediate termination of your parental rights. Jennifer collapsed, sobbing, her body shaking. Please, please, she's my baby. The bailiffs moved in, lifting her by the arms. Jennifer was still screaming as they led her out, her cries echoing down the hallway long after the courtroom doors closed. Dieter walked silently, head down, his hands cuffed behind his back. He didn't look at anyone. The courtroom doors closed. It was over. Outside the courthouse, the press was waiting, cameras, microphones, a wall of reporters shouting questions the moment I stepped into the sunlight. Mr. Foster, how do you feel? Will you seek full custody? What will you tell Luna? I stopped on the courthouse steps, Rebecca Sanchez beside me, David Hughes nodding encouragement. I cleared my throat, my voice steady despite the exhaustion weighing on every word. Justice has been served. Luna is safe. That's all that matters. I ask that you respect Luna's privacy moving forward. I turned to leave. Mr. Foster, one more question. I didn't stop. David caught up with me as I reached the car. Perfect. Very dignified. I nodded, too exhausted to speak. That evening I picked Luna up from Mrs. Patterson's house. She ran to me the moment I walked in, her arms outstretched. Daddy, I missed you. I scooped her up, holding her tight, breathing and the scent of her shampoo. I missed you too, baby. My mother pulled me aside while Luna played with my father in the living room. Is it over? She asked quietly. I nodded. 30 years. 28 years. They're gone, Mom. Luna's safe. Her eyes filled with tears. And are you okay? I looked at Luna laughing as my father pretended to be a dragon, her smile real and unburdened. I will be, I said. We both will be. 6 months after the sentencing, the adoption hearing was scheduled for a quiet Tuesday morning. The family court was small and intimate, just me, Luna David Hughes, and a judge with silver hair and kind eyes. Luna wore a yellow dress my mother had bought for the occasion. She swung her legs, holding my hand. The judge reviewed the paperwork, then looked at me. Mr. Foster adopting Luna means a lifelong commitment. It severs all biological rights of Dieter Hoffman. Do you understand the permanence of this decision? I looked at Luna. She was 6 years old now, her face still round with childhood, but her eyes already wise. Your Honor, I said steadily, I've been making that commitment every single day for the past 6 years. I've been her father through scraped knees and bedtime stories, through nightmares and first days of school. Today just makes it official. The judge smiled faintly and signed the document. Luna Rose Foster, you are now legally and permanently the daughter of Warren Joseph Foster, in every sense of the word. Luna looked up at me, eyes wide. Forever and ever, Daddy. I squeezed her hand. Forever and ever, sweetheart. David nodded from behind us. Luna grinned. As we left the courthouse, I thought about what those words meant. Dieter Hoffman gave Luna her DNA. Jennifer gave her life. But I gave her a father, consistency, safety, love. Those things weren't biological. They were chosen, and that made them real. I didn't think much about Jennifer or Dieter anymore. Jennifer was at Central California Women's Facility, working in the laundry for 45 cents an hour. Dieter was at Folsom, his empire gone, his wife divorced. They'd both die in prison, Jennifer at 77, Dieter at 75. I felt nothing when I heard updates. Not satisfaction, not anger, just indifference. They're not part of my story anymore, I told David once, and they weren't. 1 year after the arrests, life had found its rhythm. Luna was thriving in first grade at a neighborhood school in Noe Valley. I'd been promoted to senior vice president of IT, with remote flexibility. We'd moved to a small house with a backyard where Luna wanted to plant tulips in the spring. Saturday mornings, Luna and I walked to the farmer's market on 24th Street. She held my hand, skipping between stalls of strawberries and sunflowers. We bought fresh bread and honey, chatting with vendors who'd come to know us by name. Luna picked out a bouquet of daisies for the kitchen table. "Can we get the yellow ones, Daddy?" "Anything you want, kiddo." She grinned, clutching the flowers like treasure. That afternoon, we went to Golden Gate Park. Luna's bike, purple, with streamers, gleamed in the sunlight. "Watch me, Daddy." Luna pedaled down the path with the confidence of a pro. She was fast, steady, completely fearless. I jogged beside her, grinning as she laughed and called out to me. "You're flying, baby." She circled back, breathless and proud. "Did you see how fast I went?" "I saw. You're amazing." We sat on the grass afterward, sharing a bag of trail mix. Luna pointed at a family nearby, a mom, dad, 2 kids playing frisbee. "They look happy," she said quietly. "We're happy too," I said. She leaned against me. "Yeah, we are." Other parkgoers smiled as they passed a father and daughter, just us building a life together. At school, Luna was doing wonderfully. Her teacher, Nitis Patel, said she was resilient, kind, and bright. Luna had been seeing Dr. Ellis, a child therapist, for 6 months. "She feels safe with you," Dr. Ellis told me. That's the foundation. Luna's 7th birthday party had been small but joyful, 5 friends from school, my parents' pizza, and a unicorn cake. No one mentioned Jennifer. No one asked. Luna's life was full without her. Luna didn't ask about her mother anymore, not like she used to. She'd stopped asking, "When will Mommy come home?" and started saying things like, "I'm glad it's just us, Daddy." She'd made her peace with it in the way only children can, by accepting what is and moving forward. Sunday evening, I pushed Luna on the swings at our neighborhood park. The sun was setting over the bay, painting the sky orange and pink. "Higher, Daddy! Higher!" I pushed harder. She shrieked with laughter. She jumped off mid-swing. I caught her, and we tumbled onto the grass, laughing. We walked home as the sun dipped below the horizon, her small hand in mine. Our shadows stretched long across the sidewalk, silhouetted against the golden light. "Daddy," Luna said. "Yeah, baby." "I'm really happy." I squeezed her hand. "Me too, sweetheart. Me too." My wife conspired to end my life for $2.5 million. She lied about who fathered my daughter. She stole years of my life. But in trying to destroy me, she gave me something unexpected clarity. Luna isn't my daughter by blood. She's my daughter because I chose her. Every single day. Through every scraped knee, I bandaged every parent-teacher conference. Every nightmare I soothed, every birthday candle, every laugh, every tear. Biology doesn't make you a parent. Love does. Commitment does. Showing up does. Jennifer and Dieter are in prison. They'll die there, old forgotten, their schemes turned to dust. But Luna and me, we're free. We're building a life filled with farmers, market Saturdays, and bike rides in the park. With teachers who say she's kind, and therapists who say she's healing. With birthday parties and bedtime stories, and "I'm really happy, Daddy." We're not defined by what was taken from us. We're defined by what we're building together. Luna is my daughter. Not because of DNA, but because every morning I wake up and choose to be her father. And that choice, that endless daily choice, is everything. A lesson from Grandpa's stories. People ask me to share this true story because they want to know how I survived. The truth is, I almost didn't. Looking back, I see my mistakes clearly. I trusted blindly. I ignored red flags, Jennifer's expensive gifts, her unexplained absences, Dieter's too frequent presence. Don't be like me. Trust, but verify. Love doesn't mean closing your eyes to the truth. When I discovered the conspiracy, I wanted revenge. I wanted to destroy them the way they tried to destroy me. But God had other plans. God didn't save me so I could become bitter. God saved me so Luna could have a father who chose love over hatred. That's the lesson I want my grandpa's stories to carry forward. Forgiveness isn't for them. It's for you. Jennifer and Dieter are in prison, but I'm free not because of the verdict, but because I chose not to let their evil consume me. This true story taught me 3 things. First, biology doesn't make you a parent. Love does. Luna isn't mine by blood, but she's mine by every choice I've made. Second, justice matters, but healing matters more. The trial gave me closure. Luna gave me purpose. Third, God works even through betrayal. What was meant to destroy me became the catalyst for the most meaningful relationship of my life. So here's my advice. Don't ignore the warning signs. Don't let trust become blindness. And when betrayal comes, because it will, don't let it define you. These grandpa stories aren't just my past. They're Luna's inheritance. I want her to know, even when the world is cruel, you can choose kindness. Even when you're broken, you can rebuild. And that in this true story is everything.